effect for Charlie. Forward, draw the sword. Forward, up and rally.
Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Empire Total War 2 with the Scottish campaign. Last time around we started what I'd like to call the World War, as most of the world is now at war with each other. So we got the French and the Spanish and the Russians on one side, and then we've got me, the Scottish, the Swedish and the Prussians on the other side. Now, not necessarily going head to head like that, so there's a bit of mixed alliances here and there, but in general, this is the Great War. And last time around, we managed to take Hanover, we took Venice, and then we also landed in North America, and we took Boston. No, not Boston. We took Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. In the process, we lost 2 units of cavalry, but we got some valuable lessons that perhaps I would have foreseen beforehand. Today, we're gonna do more here in North America, I'm thinking, and perhaps we might have time also to do the siege or battle of Königsberg. But I would say that since last time I actually took a look at the fact that I took a screenshot of my deal with Denmark, and on that card I did notice that for the diplomatic screen I could see that on Denmark's side they actually had Kurland as their vassal. So the reason why I got Denmark and Kurland at the same time, and seemingly I didn't know where I got Kurland from, it's because they were a vassal of Denmark. So I think I thought about that possibility in last episode, but I wasn't sure. I was more inclined to believe that I'd somehow missed the fact that some diplomatic dealings with Kurland had led them to become my vassal. Right, so let's go. One thing that I do dislike about the AI, both in the sense that it hurts themselves and it hurts me, is that Denmark has decided to... Oh, they've not actually built anything in this port, bastards. But they build, like, shipyards, and then they build... they're probably going to build a fishery here, if I'm not entirely mistaken, which is completely pointless, because all the villages have been built up, so it's completely pointless at this point. So why don't they build a trade port so they can actually trade and not be destitute anymore? Same with Kurland. They've not built anything here. I'm sure they're gonna build a naval port because they think, oh, rather than, you know, bringing in cash from trade agreements, I am going to build a powerful navy when you already have too many troops for your own good. Outdated as hell as well. That's weighing down your coffers, I'm sure. Yeah, they're suffering from bankruptcy. They've been controlled in this area forever, and they still haven't been able to start sort of make it more Baltic. I was about to say another word there, but we'll avoid that. Right, with that said, the European I was about to say the European dealings are done, but we have the siege of Königsberg there that needs to be dealt with. Let's go over to North America. So we have 2 battles lined up. We have Boston, which I think is going to be the harder one, just because we've got less troops, and the enemy's got more troops. Also, looks like they're going to be able to drag in some extra troops here. Not that that will be too dangerous. I'm contemplating... I think, well, you know what, we were looking for a challenge, so perhaps I will charge Boston before we go ahead and do this battle. I want to see kind of what they actually have. So they have 5,000 men under Victor Francois de Froggery. I have 3,000 men, and then they'll be reinforced by... Wait. They'll be reinforced by 3,700 men, because where does this reinforcement army come? Wait, are they being reinforced all the way from over here? with 3,700 men. That brings their army up to like 8,000 men or more. Actually, probably brings it closer to 9,000 men against my 3,000, so it's 3 to 1. I do have more cannons. They do have a puckle gun. They have an old Saker and 12-pounder ad hoc company. Some sort of early colonial company. While I have my two 12-pounders and a 12-pounder howitzer. Canister is going to have to do a lot of work for me here. 9,000 men. Well, clearly, perhaps if I want to try and get more battles done in this episode, I should not do that one, because this one will require something else. So let's go ahead and combine these two armies. Let's hope that there's no big reinforcement army. As soon as I say that, this turns up, that they're on the wrong side of the river.
Siege them.
There is no reinforcement for this one, so combining the armies was a good choice. We've got 6,500 men against 5,000 enemies. However, they have a clear advantage in artillery. Not only do they have higher calibers with this 24, a lot of these 24-pounders, they've just got more than us. We've got two 12-pounders, just as us, but they're probably the howitzer is probably the worst. Gonna fire explosive shots on us and potentially destroy a large amount of troops and send them packing. Something that I do wish kind of I would have waited until I had my own 24-pounders. I'm sure they're just as inaccurate as my guns, but when they hit, they do a lot more damage, since it's twice the size of the explosive shell. Anyways, let's have Dallas Patterson. That I don't know. I mean, as I said before, like we had someone else that had something that I thought sounded very American, especially since, as a European, when you think about Americans, you think about Texas Cowboys, and Dallas Patterson sounds like that's. How could it be any more American, even though in this case he's a Scottish general? Anyways, Armel Deville and his absolute gaggle of general. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 generals. That's crazy. The King of France is just handing out general titles to everyone. Just so he can spend some money on all of this. Should have spent some on his infantry instead. It's all cannons and generals. Hopefully this is a case of too many cooks for the soup, and they'll be sort of what's it called? I'll say disabled, or without proper command, because there's too many generals giving too many orders. Anyways, too much talking here. Let's go ahead and fight the Battle of Quebec, shall we? And smite the French and take the first victory region in this World War. Gentlemen, we have arrived on the battlefield. I think this is the outskirts of Quebec, or perhaps it is Quebec. I didn't check how many people live there right now. Generals have a commanding position up here on the hill, together with our artillery. And as you might notice, there's a lack of enemy fire. You can see the entire army here on the move. We've got a frontage of 4 brigades with 2 grenadier brigades in reserve over on the left, with all the cavalry heading over to the left as well. The reason why we do not have come under a horrendous artillery bombardment is because the enemy, deploying in a zone like this, have decided not to deploy here, which I thought they might do, and place their artillery just behind a local residential house. Instead, they've gone for the optimal position in this case. They've deployed in this sense, aiming this way. Reminder that I'm spawning over here. So they concluded that the most likely scenario is that I would have gone from the hill down through here and then down through the village, in which case they would be set to bombard the village. and perhaps, if they were lucky, hit me in the process. All the infantry has also completely abandoned the artillery position and ended up in a trench over here. What remains to guard the artillery is they have a load of these spikes, and then all the bloody generals having some kind of party or something down in the middle of the woods here. So they have completely defanged their most potent weapon in this battle, their artillery, by presenting their flank for me. I'm kind of... what if I send a unit over here just to see the bombardment that would befall the town? Or perhaps that would be... a little bit... what word am I looking for? It wouldn't be good for the inhabitants of Quebec or the outskirts of Quebec. Oh, there. Perhaps there's... looks like a town. So perhaps that's Quebec. And then this is just a little outskirt town that apparently some of the generals, or all of them, just absolutely hate. Clearly, I think this is a thing of all these generals not being able to decide properly where to go, and they have made a complete mess of the entire battle. I've got a wonderful commanding hill overlooking all of this, and I'm going to portion out my artillery at this point. So I'm thinking I will have 3 of the guns situated somewhere along here. That looks nice. We'll have the 2 howitzers situated just behind, they can fire above, and then I want the 3rd and final battery to move through here and then actually set up here. There's a lot of impossible terrain here, there's a lot of impossible terrain in front of it. It could act as a forward gun so that it would be able to, if the enemy were to come through here, he could shell them with canister before the entire battery would shell them with canister. So just to layer the canister. Otherwise, if everyone fires at the same time, they might be firing at the same unit, and one unit gets destroyed, but then there's a whole host of rest of their units coming forward. So I think that's a good way of layering the defense, rather than micromanaging it at the time and selecting artillery piece and selecting what to aim for. I can work with the rest of the army while I know that my artillery, the defense of the artillery position, will be in sequence because one unit is before the others. But perhaps I am doing too much, because it could be that the enemy, as they are right now, completely struck by an inability to command just because of the fact that they've got so many commanders. I'm going to... perhaps this is a little bit rash of starting to move the brigades forward here, because I haven't got my artillery in position just yet, which I think is going to be quite important to get those guys in order if I'm going to break down I was about to say superior army, but they aren't actually superior. But there are a lot of them, and if we are to continue the fight for quite a while here in North America, we should see about losing as little troops as possible. As it will take a little bit of a while here to march the units into formation, especially this gun out here. I think we'll skip this part, and when the fun starts, I will go ahead and reconnect with you guys, and we will blow these French defenders sky high. The battle is now underway. We've shot away enough cannons to give us a clear advantage in artillery, and that has led the French to advance. They are marching their entire force has been combined and is marching straight down here towards this one brigade on the right, which it's going to be quite dangerous. What I'm going to do is I'm going to collapse this one, and then I'm going to have all of the troops here march up, ready to flank this maneuver of the French. So we're going to have all troops marching forward like that. Meanwhile, the cavalry is up on the hill. They should now... There's so much impossible terrain everywhere. Can't bloody well deploy anything. Right, they'll deploy up there behind them. Oh, I think we're close to hitting our own units. It's going to be important here to have the howitzers not follow suit. Yeah, we're bouncing through. I think we're aiming for this one. I'll tell the cannons to aim at a unit further back. And then the howitzers will target the ground here. And hopefully that will work out. I don't think I picked the best ground, because a lot of of my troops are obscured from firing here. However, as the flanking troops come in, I think that will work, and it looks as though my cannon bombardment is certainly working to a certain extent. And now when we have double lines here, I think it's pretty safe. We're pretty safe. Just tore down this house right in front of the troops. There's a lot of French troops right here. Perhaps I will bring second line closer in support of first. Meanwhile, they're now realizing the flanking force that is coming in. So they're starting to attack that. I'll order this entire side to run into position. If they end up in melee, it doesn't matter, because they have grenadiers to back them up, so that should be just fine. We'll just put on a hell of a show with all this fighting. Alright, we're firing through our own front line, but it's worth it. Some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice I am willing to make. You're breaking apart. We'll give you a little bit of a melee boost, or a morale boost there, by ordering you into square. And then I'm going to specifically order the grenadiers there to charge. Front line is holding strong. Perhaps the howitzers should be moved further back here. See about having the cavalry trying to somehow sweep in on this. Oh, French troops have turned up behind us somehow. Well, that's good that I have two lines, otherwise there would be hammer and anvil strike on my troops, which wouldn't have been great. This melee is lasting a little bit too long for my liking. Probably means it's not going too well. Actually, since you're about to sort of break, I'm going to order you into square. I think everyone's so close to each other that it's time to halt that fire. Okay, so the front line here has won. And I'll just be ordering everyone forward now. You don't need to be in square any longer. You should join in here. We'll have one unit trail after them. The rest of them will go forward into a flank. We have one unit breaking there. We have a second unit that is unhappy with what's going on. I've got 4 units here. Could sweep in from the side. Lots of melee down here. I need a unit to come in from behind. Otherwise the rest of them going that way. It's so hard because there's so much... Oh, artillery should definitely hold fire at this point. Just a massive charge going in here. The melee fight held on a little bit too long for my liking, so could see quite high casualties from that. We have 2 units now breaking, one there, the Grenadiers, fighting until there was only 30 men left in the line. However, I think if they fall below 20, that's when the unit is gone. So they're very close to that, with only 23 men surviving there, so we could see a Grenadier unit being lost. But otherwise it looks like I've pretty much won the fight in this just massive melee fight. 23 men managed to get away. Is there any units that are rallying? No. Well, this general, I think perhaps probably the proper general, and we'll give him a proper send out by giving him a 20-gun salute. Oh, I'm shooting into my own man. The bastard knew what he was doing. That landed close to me. Right, that should be it. Yes, and there it is. We won the battle. Now, I might have done better if I didn't charge. We'll have to see what kind of casualty rates we get. I'm expecting around 1,500 men lost on my side, which is pretty okay given that we've taken out a 5,000 man army, and we took the victory condition region of Quebec. Happy surprise! We lost about 100 men more than I was expecting. 1,396 of about 1,400 men. We deployed 6,500 against about 5,200. They lost their entire force. And I lost 1,400 men, leaving me with an army of 5,136 men. Looks as though that grenadier unit was actually destroyed, so perhaps it's closer to 30 units that needs to survive there. I cannot, unfortunately, recruit any new grenadiers in the New World, so that has to be replaced with something else here from the New World, until perhaps I'll be able to ship a grenadier from the Old World. When it comes down to it, we have Scottish Line Infantry doing the most of the damage, 516 kills, followed by all the Scottish Line Infantry, in fact. So in hindsight, perhaps I think perhaps the flank shouldn't have been moved in as hard as I did. I should have methodically moved forward so they could stop and fire, and that would have probably saved a lot of men. I'm guessing perhaps as much as 400 soldiers or something like that. But we got one hell of a spectacular battle. I had specifically, building up to the battle, shot down all the houses that you can put troops in, so they would send up these big smoke columns and burning, so it would look more spectacular. Because though of the fact that they had dug in so hard and there was obstacles all around, I also probably why I lost a little bit more men than I should have, because I didn't send in the cavalry. But I feared that if I send in the cavalry, I would miss one of these obstructions, and I would lose like tons of cavalry. Normally I lose tons of cavalry. In this battle I lost 3 troopers of cavalry, but largely because I didn't even use them. New France is now under my control, and I don't know why we have these anymore. We should burn them and build something useful. We should definitely burn this building right here. So the cultural unrest is really high, as you can see. It's 19. It's going to be 6 because of the technologies I'm researching, but that's quite far away still. There's so many of these universities that I'm taking over from my enemies, and especially the French. Seems like I have a university in every single corner of the world. Where was this university? Is it in this province, or is it the one? There's no one in this one anyways. Also, the fleet should perhaps be moved to facilitate. What we should do, actually, because I control the waters here now, is I could send the fleet down. What is this river called? No idea. The Great Lakes are down here, though. I'm not entirely sure what this river is called, but if I send my fleet down here, I'll be able to block the passages across, which means that no reinforcements will be able to pass at least through here. They'll have to walk all the way down here to get around in support. And once we're able to repair here, we can get 32-pounder howitzers. Damn, that's something that we'll definitely have to get. And the cannons will be replaced as well. We got 24-pounder guns, so those will be built here as well. We've got new France line infantry, but we have got our own colonial line infantry that I think we will recruit. Colonial line infantry. We got 2 different kinds. One that is just slightly worse than the other. And it's interesting to see that it is the worse unit that costs more in upkeep. It costs more in upkeep, and it costs more to recruit initially. So I don't know why you would want to recruit that. Unfortunately, no grenadiers. I will go ahead and start recruiting a grenadier right away. I can send him on a ship. My OCD is acting up because Now my perfectly arranged armies are no longer perfectly arranged. There's quite a few troops still on this side of the river though. However, all their artillery, the important bits, were destroyed. It's going to cost me about 5,000 to replenish those troops. Not too bad. I think though that perhaps we'll do this one as a short episode, and then I will do this one as a long episode in exchange. Because I'm not entirely sure how long I have recorded for. A lot of this battle was just a setup, because it took me about 20 minutes to get in position to attack the enemy. And then once the battle actually started, it didn't last that long. Don't dare. I don't know, those natives were the ones to ambush me. They only have 32 accuracy, so I don't know where. It's just that when the AI plays with native units, they get like twice the skill on everything. Because there's no way that unit in the last episode that ambushed me in the battle that never was able to take out like half the unit with one volley. It was a spectacular volley though, because it looked like not a single unit managed to get a misfire, so it's like one in a lifetime shot. But right, so what we have left then is the Battle of Königsberg and then the Battle of Boston. Battle of Boston is the one where we actually have quite a high chance of defeat, and I shouldn't be too surprised if I lose units in this battle. But there we go. We took Quebec, we took a victory region, the first victory region of the war. Means that I only have 4 victory regions left, one of which is held by... No, 2 is actually held by Spain, and then the rest is all no, actually 3 is held by Spain. So Spain holds most of them. The only one now that the French hold is actually those islands. But there's no way I'll be able to sort of control this without controlling this in this war. So allowing all of this to continue is not gonna, you know, it's not gonna allow me to take this, and it's certainly not gonna allow me to hold the islands. It's gonna be interesting to see how the counterattacks, because it's got so many troops everywhere, and such a global conflict, that I'm sure they will throw a few surprises at me. But for now, this is what we have, and so, you know what, I will say what I always say. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.